excited to get this opportunity to share my experiences with all of you. And I'm also excited, Romana, that being here at Cipla, because I've known Cipla for affordable medicine, but when I was in Yale, I was a part of one program with the Yale department, and we were working on health insurance actually, and we were seeing that how difficult in India it is to deal with that, and we were designing the health insurance product for our women. And during that period, I used to hear so much from Yale about Cipla's effort for affordable drugs for poor particularly, and in areas of HIV. So I'm really, really proud to be a part of a Cipla in that sense, because Cipla is doing so much for poor, for affordable drugs. So I was born and raised in Mumbai, and when you mentioned that I was in a JP movement, and when I was going around in the rural area also during that time, I was thinking that I want to work in rural area. And in Satara district in Mann, there was a drought, and a lot of women were, there were women-headed families, there was migration, and a lot of work was going on. And I met my husband there. He was also working with Sanghashwani, with JP movement. And then after teaching for 1 year in Mumbai economics, that also it was just a part-time thing, because at that time you did not require, you are a postgraduate, you apply for the job and you get it, especially in the colleges and all. So, and then while doing like both the lives, I realized that I'm done with Mumbai and I'll shift to village. And it was a lot of idealism, revolution, you want to make a change, and you always are obsessed with the things that that you want to work with the poor community and explain them. You make them aware of different things, you have that also in mind. So I was also obsessed with so much ideas, and when I went from Mumbai to Maswad in Mann Taluka, these ideas were there, but at the same time, while taking the decision, I never realized that, I'm leaving Mumbai and going to that place where will I be able to survive? That actually didn't come in my mind. Or after marriage, 1 year I spent in Mumbai and then went. And when I went to my husband's place, I stayed there. But when I went and stayed in his house, and the very next day I wanted to go to toilet. And I just said that I want to go to toilet, and my husband Vijay, he said that go back. And I was like, what? And then he said that before going you take the stick, because pigs will be there. So I was questioning myself. There I was talking about revolution, I was talking about total change, I was talking about, how you have to do this, you have to empower women in this way, all that. And then my first program or my first action was that we want toilet for women. So that's how my journey in village started. And as you mentioned that it was, you become a center there where why would people come to you? I was thinking like, people would come for different problem, and I was thinking I will have to explain them and make them aware and create that awareness, bring them together and tell them to fight for their rights and all that. I realized that whatever I was thinking was totally wrong. And I will share that the lessons which I have learned from women in that area, not only just lessons, but it was also that every time whenever I came with some suggestions or some idea or something that, one should lead, you should think this way, I realized that they knew much more than me, that is one. And second, I realized that it is so difficult for you to make yourself unlearn. And these are all big words, but I'll share the experiences that how learning from them made the things much more effective, and it was so important to listen to them. When I was working, this woman, Kantabai, she still does this work. It's not that she's not. She's a she does this, she sharpens the weeds and sells the widows on the road. And she said, I want to save and I want to open an account I mean, she just said, I want to do savings. And so I said, go to the banks. And she said, banks are not opening my account. So I went with her to different banks, requested banks to open account. This is nearly 19 years back. And bank said that she wants to save 3 rupees a day and it's not affordable for us. So, and then I also was, when she said that I want to save, I was questioning that, do you have money to save? You are doing business on the road, you do not have a house. Do you have money to save? And when I asked her question, she was repeating, I want to save 3 rupees, I want to buy a plastic sheet to cover my children because we are staying on the road. And my question was again that do you have a surplus money to save? But she had her planning and she was very clear on that. So for me, the learning was that even in spite of not having surplus, poor people need an opportunity to do savings because they want to plan their lives and they know that. So that was a learning for them. And when banks denied the account, so as you mentioned, the activist part, actually that was much more live than now today. When I was in Mumbai with the feminist movement and all, so then we said, if banks are not opening the account, why not start the bank? And that's how I got into it. No business plan, no action plan. It was just women want to start the bank and why can't we do that? And that's how we started this whole process. I shared the story of applying for the banking license many times and still I don't get bored of sharing again and again. And why I'm trying to say, I mean, it's also that it actually reminds me that, you know, the energy which these women have, which made me feel, which gave me strength. So that's why I always like to share. And so when we applied for the banking license, majority of the women had a thumb impression. And you give lot of details, right, when you applied for the banking license and your whole project proposal, everything. But Reserve Bank rejected, saying that when you're promoting members are non-literate, how can we issue the license? I came back from Mumbai, and I was crying in bus. I talked to women and I said that, you know, RBI has rejected the license for this reason. They said, so what? We'll learn to read and write and apply again. Why are you crying? That was the reaction. I got like, okay, these women want to go ahead, so let's go ahead. But I wasn't sure yet. So then we started having classes, literacy classes, and it was interesting how for them it was such a big thing that, you know, they used to be ready for the classes and various places simultaneously we used to have. After 6 months we applied again. At that time I didn't go alone because I wasn't confident that we'll get the license. So I said that let women face that you know, it can be rejected. So 17 women came with me to Reserve Bank of India, and we had an appointment. So when we went into the office, I wasn't sure how the debate will take place, but I was like, okay, our women have come and now you have rejected the license, so you explain to them. But our women, they said, like, you rejected the license because we were non-literate, but when we were growing, schools were not there, so we are not responsible for our non-education. And they said that, you know, tell us to calculate, and because we are not educated, that doesn't mean that we don't know calculations, we don't know how to manage finance. So they said, tell us to calculate the interest of any principal amount. If we fail, don't issue the license. Tell your officers to do it without calculator and see who can calculate faster. I never thought in this my mind that, you know, I should question this way. Or they were like so easily, they said. And then our meeting went on for 2 hours. And finally we got the license. And again, I'm just saying that for me the lesson was that, you know, anybody can be non-educated, but everybody can count and manage finance, in spite of illiteracy, in spite of non-literacy. So that was a learning for me, that these women can do it. I thought that women are saving in coins, so why don't we have a boxes for these women? And we bought the boxes, very colorful, and distributed among women. And then women were saving in coin. One day one woman came with a broken box, and then she said that you provided the boxes. But before your bank representative comes, my husband broke the box and took away the money. And she was really mad. And then she was like, whose stupid idea was this? And I was, mine. Right? So then she said that, can't you understand that before your representative comes and I have lost my hard-earned money? The second lesson for me was that always don't try to provide the solutions without listening to people, right? And then another was like, never provide poor solutions to poor people. In 2006, we had a smart cards for our women. And the reason was simple, that when the boxes were broken, they said we want to say in such a way that nobody can get an access to it, or it cannot be disclosed. So at that time we had a because RBI would not allow us and there were no ATM card at that time. So we had electronic passbook. We found out the way that, regulation also allows. So electronic passbook. And these electronic passbook can be read by our device, which is a point of sale device or POS device, what you say. So from the beginning, women were very clear that we do not have a time to come to your bank. So we thought that if women cannot come to the bank will go to them. So from the beginning, doorstep banking was started. One of the women, she came to bank and she said that she rears sheep and goat, and she's a Parel wife, and she came to bank and she said that I want a loan to buy 2 cell phones. And my question was, 2 cell phones, why? She said that I rear sheep and goat, and I migrate for 5 months. I will have 1 cell phone with me, but I leave my kids with my mother-in-law for the education, studies, and 1 cell phone with them so that I can be in touch with them. And she has not gone to school, so she immediately tells me that you have started bank, you have done this. How are we going to operate the cell phone? Why don't you teach us that? Such a simple. And then we thought, okay, then why not start a business school for rural women where women can, learn whatever they want to make their life, to improve their life. So, and I'm particularly saying this business school is Mann Deshi Udyogini, and that was a time where foundation started such programs for women. It's not like, it's more empowering them to have a control on their lives, empowering them to have an opportunities. Our strategy is that wherever bank operates, business school also goes with them. And again, there also many women would come and say that, we cannot come to the Udyogini and have a training of the businesses and all. So then we said that if women cannot come, then business school can come. So we have a mobile bus where mobile bus goes to the different villages and provide the training to these women. And then this mobile bus also provides other banking products also, so that doorstep banking can also be done. So this is how the business school started. So she started a chai business on the road. On Friday evening, police came in civil dress, had a chai from so she's Baina by Sagar, had a chai from her and arrested her on Friday evening. The reason was that every day she used to bring a domestic guest on the cycle. She would set up her stall and sell chai, and arrested her for using the domestic gas, which she's not supposed to because it is subsidized for domestic purpose, not for commercial purpose. And then we got a release on Monday, and I thought, she would be broken and she would say that, finally, because हिंदी में बोलते हैं कि मैं आपके पीछे लगी तो मुझे तो जेल देखनी पड़ी. And her husband, everybody was cursing her actually. But when she came out, she said that I'll buy commercial gas, I'll prove my business, I will show the profit and I'll continue. And she bought commercial gas, and now she has a small business and has a gada in the municipal council and has added other products also like vada pav and all that. So these are the women, they take so much of challenge, they make the success. But then at that time we realized that women like Lakshmi Bai, these are the talent, and in today's International Day, if these are the women who are actually inspiring us. So then we started community radio, where women can, run See, look at her. I mean, I'm saying that when we started community radio, that whole licensing is very complicated. When you see this picture, forget about kitna mehnat karna pada sab bhul gayi main. It's very interesting that we thought, we'll be using radio for our women's stories and all. But we never realized that our women have a different talent which comes up. And they have different songs and poetries and which are not written or scripted anywhere. But now we document it. So it's a different documentation also is happening in the radio from the local women, which otherwise will disappear with them. And there are so many women who have, and it was interesting. There is another woman who is a Kerabai Sargar, who is a regular programmer at the radio. And when she was interviewed, she just said that, how did you start singing? And she mentioned one line, shall I tell you how? Actually, because of the drought, there was nothing. And at a young age, I was pregnant, I used to feel very hungry. And then to forget that hunger, I used to sing. But at the same, even in that situation, the talent, they come up with these things. And so it was so much learning from these women. In 2012, we had a very bad drought. And one woman came to do the gold mortgage and she took a loan. And I was asking her that, are you taking loan for children's education? She said, no, it's such a bad drought that we don't have a fodder. So I'm mortgaging gold and buying fodder. And then she said that, can I mortgage gold and get water? And I was, yeah, but you are right. But we are bank, we are business school. It's not our area of work in water. So then she comments that, if we leave this area, with whom are you going to do banking? Nobody will be left. So that made us think that, we need to do something. And then we started a cattle camp. It was 14,000 animals were there at one place with 7,000 farmers, and fodder and water was, made available there. And there was a lot of support from Mumbai everywhere for this cattle camp. And then after the cattle camp, we realized that this drought can frequently come and this is not the solution. So we started working on water. So many people ask me a question that you are bank, you are business school, are you not diversing? You are not reducing your focus? I also have this dilemma. But then finally I decided that when you are in a community, you go with the community. We have this program of bicycle for girls to go to school. And we never thought, it was in 2005 that one girl came. She wanted to go to high school. She came in April. She said that I want to work for 2 months at the bank. We were like, why you want to work? You are only 14 years old. And so she said, I have completed my 7th grade. I want to go to 8th grade. There is no bus facility available. And my parents will drop me out of the school. So I will work for 2 months and buy a bicycle to go to school. She knew what she wants. She knows what she wants to do. It's a matter of just a small thing. So then we thought, why not have a bicycles for girls to go to school? So initially we were actually doing lending, but then now there is a lot of support is coming. So we provide the bicycles for girls, and it is very much well linked with the schools. So we get the application from schools and we provide this. By today we have given around 7,000 girls have got the bicycles to go to school. When in this whole journey, one thing you find is, it's not that women want to improve their lives. They are actually much more modernized in a different way, and they are confident in their capacity. So many women would take training, but they will say, how many tailors? Hamara tailoring ka business nahi chalta hai. They forced us that, and many women would come that I have goats, I'm wearing goats. How can you help us? How can we increase our income? So then we thought, we have to rethink of and come out of the box, like, with kapad and papad, why, something more. And women are ready to do that. And so we designed this program of goat doctor. Now girls have started telling themselves as a goat doctor. We did it as a, program for inseminators, vaccination, all that boring thing. They said no. They were very clear. They said, I'm 9th pass, I'm getting this opportunity. I'm a goat doctor. I will become a goat doctor. And with that whole that whole dignity, this program was designed. So I would like you to watch this. And
Surekha is known as Lady with the Wonder Bag here. She is responsible for the birth of hundreds of lambs like these. She's an entrepreneur whose business is inseminating goats. Before Surekha found this love for goats, she learned computer and tailoring. She got associated with Mann Deshi when she was just 18. It is here that she honed her skills. And then one day she heard a rant and tailoring became history.
सुरेखा, तुला शेळ्यांच्या कृत्रिम रेतनासाठी सिलेक्शन झालेलं आहे तर तुला त्या ट्रेनिंगला जायचं आहे.
Learning the art of goat insemination wasn't enough for Surekha. Right there during the program, she decided to make it her business. So she went straight to the B-School program of Mann Deshi to learn business skills. And one fine day, she tailored her wonder bag. Surekha now wants to spread her business to the neighboring villages. Thus, she is developing a group of inseminators so that she could meet the target of 2,000 lambs in 2 months.
आई ग, शेळीला किती पिल्लं झाली?
6.
Thanks to Mann Deshi, Surekha found not just one, but multiple ways of life. She chose well and saw herself realizing all she dreamt of.
so you can see the talent. There is a talent. There may not be education, there may not be all other infrastructure, what we are saying, but there is a talent. If we have a patience, if we listen to them, they come out with much more advanced and much more better solutions than we actually think in our mind. And so it's our responsibility to, tap that talent and take it forward. So I'm so glad today on the International Women's Day, I'm sharing the talent of our rural women and sharing the learnings which I've learned from them. And so thank you so much.